first lesson, Basic Concepts and Notations. So our subject is ComSci 1201, Data Structures and Algorithms. Let's proceed. So at the end of the lesson, the student should be able to explain the process of problem solving, define data type, abstract data type, and data structure, identify the properties of an algorithm, differentiate the two addressing methods, computed addressing and linked addressing, use the basic mathematical functions to analyze algorithms, and measure complexity of algorithms by expressing the efficiency in terms of time complexity and big O notation. Let's proceed. So programming is a problem-solving process which could be viewed in terms of the following domains. So the first domain is the problem domain, which include the input and the output. Okay? So in the problem domain, you have to identify which of the follow of the needed data should be inputted to the program, as well as the um, specified output after the processing. In the machine domain, you are going to consider storage medium and the processing unit. And the last one is the solution domain. This is the bridge or the intermediary between the problem domain and the machine domains. So let us give some concrete examples. So for raw data or the input, we have personal data. When you try to process the data, it becomes an information. We can now yield to results such as academic histories. Form 5S, we can get performance indicators, grading sheets, we can produce transcripts. So for machine domain, we have the storage medium, which is measured by bits, bytes, words, etc. The processing units are the mathematical operations, including logical operations as well. Okay. And the solution domain includes the data representations and the algorithms. So under the data representations, we have lists, files, tables, and trees. And the algorithms, we have searching, sorting, memory management, traversal, and others. So like what I have said a while back, the solution domain serves as the bridge between the problem and the machine domains. So there are actually two related tasks at the solution domain: structuring of higher level data representations and the synthesis of algorithms. Note that data structures and algorithms are the building blocks of computer programs. Okay? Although we can say that if you know the syntax of a particular programming language, you can already use it to develop programs. However, your data structures and algorithms will make it more organized, more efficient, and more effective. Let's proceed with the definition of these three. So data type, it is the type of data that variables can assume in a programming language and for which operations are automatically provided. For the abstract data type, we have the mathematical model with defined operations. In Java, an EDT can be expressed with an interface. Okay, so alam na alam nyo naman kung ano yung data type, di ba? Pag sinabi naman nating abstract data type, para siyang structure sa C. Okay? So an example here is the interface stack. So once we have an interface in Java, all declarations are abstract. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Ang meron lang dyan ay yung mga method headings and then the semicolon. Wala pong body yung ating mga methods. So kapag ka-in-implement na natin yung abstract data type, nagiging data structure na siya. So sa Java, ang tawag sa kanya ay class. Algorithm. It is a finite set of instructions which if followed will accomplish a particular task. So there are 5 characteristics of an algorithm. Number 1 is finiteness. An algorithm must terminate after a finite number of steps. Number 2 is definiteness. This ensures that every step in an algorithm is precisely defined. So ibig sabihin walang malabo o everything is clear. Input, the domain, okay? And the output, the range of the algorithm. So lastly, Effectiveness, this ensures if all the operations in the algorithm are sufficiently basic that they can, in principle, be done exactly in finite time by a person using paper and pen. So pag sinabi nating algorithm, you can actually express this using letter F and letter P. Ano tong F and P na to? Yung flowchart and pseudocodes. Okay? So kapag hindi mo siya kayang i-express using the two, hindi siya matatawag na algorithm kasi hindi niya na-satisfy yung effectiveness na characteristics. Addressing methods. So meron tayong computed addressing katulad ng ating arrays. Okay? So sa C at saka sa Java, same lang yung declaration natin. Medyo may nadagdag lang. For link addressing naman, gagamit na tayo ng class or ng data structure. Okay? So, merong dalawang information or dalawang parts yung ating isang node. Okay? So, meron tayong info kung saan sinisave yung ating data at saka yung link papunta dun sa next node. So, kaya siya tinawag na link addressing method kasi hindi natin alam hanggat mayroon pang space available dun sa ating RAM ay pwede pang mag-run or gumawa ng panibagong node as long as it is needed. Okay? So that is your link addressing method. Memory pool naman or array-list. This is the source of the nodes from which link structures are built. So parang collection lang siya ng ating linked list or linked nodes. Okay? So this is the implementation of our get node and return node. So soon ma-discuss din natin kung paano gumagana yung mga yan. Now let's proceed with mathematical functions. So the floor of x, or denoted by that symbol, is the greatest integer less than or equal to x, where x is any real number. Let's proceed with the examples. So suppose we get the 3.14, the floor of 3.14, automatic, ano ba yung pinakamalaking integer? Okay? Na nare-represent nung number na to. So, hindi tayo mag-round off, guys. Okay? So, ang sagot dito ay 3. Ganon din yung floor of 1/2. Okay? So, parang i-disregard mo lang yung decimal place. Okay? Yung decimal value. So, since this is 0.50, automatic ang kanyang floor ay 0. Kapag negative 1/2 naman, ang kanyang floor ay negative 1. For the ceiling of x, denoted by that symbol, it is the smallest integer greater than or equal to x, where x is any real number. Okay, so suppose we will get the ceiling of 3.14. So ano ba yung next na integer kapag may pasobra, halimbawa yung isang number? So in this case, 3.14, the ceiling of 3.14 is 4. Kapag 1/2 naman, ano yung susunod na integer? Okay? That's 1. And kapag negative 1/2, that's 0. Lastly is the modulo or the remainder operator. Or if we have 10, modulo 3, alam nyo na to kasi sa C meron tayong modulo operator. The remainder is 1. 24 modulo 8, remainder is 0. Negative 5 modulo 7, remainder is negative 5. Sir, bakit negative 5 pa rin? Because you cannot actually divide using integer division, yung 5 divided by 7. So, mas malaki kasi yung divisor kaysa dun sa dividend. So, if we have the floor of x, or the ceiling of x is equal to the floor of x, if and only if x is an integer. Kapag ceiling naman is equal to the floor of x plus 1 if and only if x is not integer. Okay? Negative x, floor of negative x is equal to the negative value of the ceiling of x. Okay? And then floor of x plus floor of y is less than or equal floor of x plus y. So parang nandito yung associative property natin. X is equal to the floor of x plus x modulo 1. Yes. Bakit? Kasi kapag minodulo mo yung isang decimal value. Okay? Di ba? Kapag minoduluan mo siya, um, lahat ng buo na values doon ang matatanggal. Tapos yung decimal na lang ang matitira. And lastly, ito naman yung distributive property. Okay? So, sa kabila pala yung associative, ito yung distributive property. Algorithm efficiency. So, the first thing na kinoconsider dito is yung space utilization. Gaano kalaki yung kinakain ng isang program habang nagra-run siya. However, sa ka-powerful ng ating mga computers, hindi na natin kailangan i-consider ito. So, ano yung dapat i-consider? Yun yung tinatawag na time efficiency naman. Gaano kabilis nagra-run yung isang program. So, execution time is the amount of time spent in executing instructions of a given algorithm. So, the notation is time of n or t of n. Several factors that affect the execution time include input size, instruction type, machine speed, quality of source code, and quality of machine code generated from the source code. So, paano siya kinumpile, mga ganon. Okay. So, ano ang ginagamit natin to denote complexity of algorithms? Ito yung tinatawag nating big O notation or simply O notation. So, let us just leave this definition first para mas madali nyo maintindihan. Ganito siya pag kinumpare. Okay? So, if we have the notation O of 1, that is constant. Kailan nag-a-apply yung constant? Halimbawa, meron kang step-by-step coding sa pag-accept ng integers at pag-compute ng sum nito. Okay? So, since sunod-sunod lang yung steps natin, ang tawag doon ay constant. Okay. Sa pangalawa naman, O log 2 of n is what we call the logarithmic. Ang example nito is yung binary search. So, ito yung fastest. Paano ko nasabing fastest? Compare log 2n, which is 19.93 microseconds nagra-run, doon sa ating iba pang notations, katulad ng linear. So, yung O of n natin, linear, sequential search. Ano ang kanyang bilis? 1 second, okay? So, 19.93 microseconds compared as to the 1 second of our linear. We also have the linear rhythmic. So, i-multiply mo lang silang dalawa. Meron din tayong quadratic. 11.57 days magra-run. Cubic, 317.10 centuries. Grabe, no? At saka yung exponential, eternity. Okay? So, hindi na natapos yung program mo. So, ganun kabilis. So, what is the fastest among all the notations? Siyempre, yung logarithmic. And the slowest is the exponential. So, ito yung proof ng ating rules for sums and rules for product. So, balikan ko lang yun. Yan. So, sabi niya dito, kapag ka daw ang time ni unang program ay O of n, O of f of n, and then yung time ng pangalawa ay O of g of n, when we have the two programs, ano daw ang mangyayari? You will just get the maximum value among the two. Kapag ka naman rule of product, i-multiply mo sila. Okay? So, this is the proof. Next is, we'll have a concrete example. So, for example, we have I gets 1 to n do. For j, gets I to n do. Okay? So, in this case, bilis daw nung ating looping statement. So, meron siyang loop inside a loop. Tama? So, the inner loop will take n plus n minus 1 plus n minus 2 plus up to 2 plus 1 times. So, then the running time is n, yung n sa labas ng ating loop, and then n plus 1 over 2. Or simplifying this, you will get n raised to 2 over 2 plus n over 2. So, ano yung pinakamataas na exponent? N raised to 2, kaya ang kanyang complexity ay O of n raised to 2. Okay? So in this example, yung pangalawang loop or the inner loop is affected by the counter in our first loop. Kasi kung mapapansin nyo, yung j, kinukuha niya yung value ni I. Okay. So let us have another example. Itong step 1, step 2, or code number 1, 2, okay, ay mga constant. So ano yung count nila? 1. Okay. And then, yung lock natin nag-start sa 1 hanggang kay n. Tama? At kapag ka daw na-encounter yung not found, gagawin mo itong statement sa baba. Okay. So, ilan beses yung maximum na ma-execute yung loop sa taas, itong part na to? Obviously, it's n. Okay? At kailan siya magta-terminate? Kapag nag-n plus 1 na. Kaya, ang lalagay natin na execution time is n plus 1. And we assume already na yung if-else natin, hindi kasi natin alam kung saan siya pupunta, di ba? Kasi hanggat hindi natin naproprogram. Na ang maximum time nito ay n times. Paano nakuha sir yung n times? Because it's n plus 1 minus 1. So lahat ng nasa loob ng loop, okay, kung ano yung count ng looping natin sa labas, ima-minus 1 mo siya. So, naging n yung statement number 4 at saka yung code number 5. Simplifying everything will get 3n plus 3, kaya ang kanyang time complexity ay O of n. So, paano nakuha yung O of n? Kasi yun yung pinakamataas na variable. So, kung wala kang nakuha variable, O of 1 ang ilalagay mo. Okay? So, this will be another example, if I'm not mistaken. So, ano ang kanyang execution time dito sa part na to? This is supposed to be an activity. So, wag muna nating sagutan. Okay? So, ito yung ating summary. Yan. And that's the end of our lesson. Thank you very much.